Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, right here in the Haven, the live studios, with my able-bodied assistant and friends, Abhay Das Brahmachari, taking care of us, manning the camera and the phone's camera. We hope all of you are well and safe and happy in all respects in the midst of this chaos we're going through in the world right now. Anyway, we're here and we're trying to present or make available some steady stream of sanity, which is exactly what the world needs. So we need to get this steady stream of sanity and nectar, actually, out there as much as possible. So please share. Caring means sharing. All right. As he stood up after ending a lecture in Munjer, an earth tremor caused mild flooding of the adjacent Ganga. The water soon receded, after which Srila Saraswati Thakur said this: in due course, Mahäprabhu, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or, if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam, but under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. For if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual damage, because after the flood has subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We're continuing to swim in the ocean of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanätana Gosvämi. And he's making him into the Siddhanta Acharya, because he's explaining to him everything possible in detail. Well, as he says himself, it's only a drop, but that drop is as big as an ocean for us. Okay, he's talking now about the original form of Krishna. We're beginning with text 166. In the original form of the Lord, Swayam Rupa is exhibited in two forms, Swayam Rupa and Swayam Prakash. In his original form as Swayam Rupa, Krishna is observed as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. 167. In his original form, Krishna manifests himself in two features, Prabhava and Vaibhava. He expands his one original form into many, as he did during the Rasa-lila dance. 168. When the Lord married 16,108 wives at Dwarka, he expanded himself into many forms. These expansions and the expansions at the Rasa dance are called Prabhava Prakash, according to the directions of revealed scriptures. The Prabhava Prakash expansions of Lord Krishna are not like the expansions of the sage Sobari. Had he been so, Narada would have not been astonished to see them. 170. It is astounding that Lord Sri Krishna, who is one without a second, expanded himself in 16,000 similar forms to marry 16,000 queens in their respective homes. Purport. This verse is spoken by Narada Muni in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:69-2. Text 171. If one form or feature is differently manifested according to different emotional features, it is called Vaibhava Prakash. 172. When the Lord expands himself in innumerable forms, there is no difference in the forms, but due to different features, bodily colors, and weapons, the names are different. 173. In different Vedic scriptures, there are prescribed rules and regulative principles for worshipping different types of forms. When one is purified by these rules and regulations, he worships you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although manifested in many forms, you are one. Purport. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47. In the Vedas it is stated that the one becomes many. Eko Bahu Shyam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself in various forms: Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Shakti Tattva. According to the Vedic literatures, there are different regulative principles for the worship of each of these forms. If one takes advantage of the Vedic literatures and purifies himself by following the rules and regulations, ultimately he worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 4:11, Mama manuvartante manusya partha sarvashaha. Worship of the demigods is in a sense worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but such worship is said to be avidhi purvakam, improper. Actually, demigod worship is meant for unintelligent men. One who is intelligent considers the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. One who worships demigods worships the Supreme Lord indirectly, but according to the revealed scriptures, there is no need to worship him indirectly. One can worship him directly. 174. The first manifestation of the Vaibhava feature of Krishna is Sri Balaramaji. Sri Balarama and Krishna have different bodily colors, but otherwise Sri Balarama is equal to Krishna in all respects. Purport. To explain the difference between Swayam Rupa, Tadikatma Rupa, Avesha, Prabhav, and Vaibhava, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given the following description. In the beginning, Krishna has three bodily features. 1. Swayam Rupa, as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. 2. Tadikatma Rupa, which is divided into Shwangshaka and Vilas. And 3. Avesha Rupa. The Shwamshaka, or expansions of the personal potency, are 1. Karnodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi, and Kshirodakashayi, and 2. Incarnations such as the fish, tortoise, boar, and Nrsimha. The Vilas Rupa has a Prabhav division, including Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. There is also a Vaibhava division, in which there are 24 forms, including the second Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. For each of these, there are 3 forms. Therefore, there are 12 forms altogether. These 12 forms constitute the predominant names for the 12 months of the year, as well as the 12 tilak marks on the body. Each of the 4 personality of Godhead expands into 2 other forms. Thus there are 8 forms, such as Purushottam, Achyuta, etc. The 4 forms, Vasudeva, etc., the 12, Keshava, etc., and the 8, Purushottam, etc., all together constitute 24 forms. The forms are differently named in accordance with the placement of the weapons they hold in their 4 hands. Text 175. An example of Vaibhava Prakash is the son of Devaki. He sometimes has 2 hands and sometimes 4 hands. Purport. When Lord Krishna took his birth, he appeared outside the womb as 4-handed Vishnu. Then Devaki and Vasudeva offered their prayers to him and asked him to assume his 2-handed form. The Lord immediately assumed his 2-handed form and ordered that he be transferred to Gokula, on the other side of the river, Yamuna. 176. When the Lord is 2-handed, he is called Vaibhava Prakash. And when he is 4-handed, he is called Prabhava Prakash. In his original form, the Lord dresses like a cowherd boy and thinks himself one. When he appears as Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, his dress and consciousness are those of a Kshatriya warrior. 178. When one compares the beauty, opulence, sweetness, and intellectual pastimes of Vasudeva, the warrior, to Krishna, the cowherd boy, son of Nanda Maharaj, one sees that Krishna's attributes are more pleasant. 179. Indeed, Vasudeva is agitated to see the sweetness of Govinda, and a transcendental greed awakens in him to enjoy that sweetness. (180) My dear friend, this dramatic actor appears like a second form of my own self. Like a picture, he displays my pastimes as a cowherd boy, overflowing with wonderfully attractive sweetness and fragrance, which are so dear to the damsels of Braja. When I see such a display, my heart becomes greatly excited. I long for such pastimes and desire a form exactly like that of the damsels of Braja. Purport. This verse is found in the Lalita Madhava 4:19. It was spoken by Vasudeva in Dwarka. Text 181. One instance of Vasudeva's attraction to Krishna occurred when Vasudeva saw the Gandharva dance at Mathura. Another instance occurred in Dwarka when Vasudeva was surprised to see a picture of Krishna. 182. Who manifests an abundance of sweetness greater than mine, which has never been experienced before, and which causes wonder to all? Alas, I myself, my mind bewildered upon seeing this beautiful, impetuously desired. Alas, I myself, my mind bewildered upon seeing this beauty, impetuously desire to enjoy it, like Srimati Radharani. Purport. This verse was spoken by Vasudeva in Dwarka and is also recorded by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Lalita Madhava 8:34. 183. When that body is a little differently manifested and its features are a little different in transcendental emotion and form, it is called Tadikatma. 184. In the Tadikatma Rupa, there are pastime expansions, vilas, and personal expansions, swangsha. Consequently, there are two divisions. According to pastime and personal expansion, there are various differences. Purport. The Lord's vilas expansions are described in the following verse from the Laghu Bhagavatamrita 1:15. Sarupam anyakaram yat tasya bhati vilasataha prayanatma samam shaktya sabilaso nigadyate. When the Lord displays numerous forms with different features by his inconceivable potency, such forms are called vilas, vigrahas. The Lord's swangsha expansion expansions are also described in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita 1:17. Tadrisho nyuna shaktim yo vyanakti swangsha iritaha sankarshanadir matsyadir yatatatsat swadamasu. When a form of Krishna is not different from the original form, but is less important and exhibits less potency, it is called swangsha. Examples of swangsha expansions can be found in the quadruple forms of the Lord, residing in their respective places, beginning with Sankarshan, Vasudev, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, and also in the Purusha avatars, Lila avatars, Manvantara avatars, and Yuga avatars. Text 185. Again, the vilas forms are divided into twofold categories, Prabhav and Vaibhav. Again, the pastimes of these forms are of unlimited variety. 186. The chief quadruple expansions are named Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are called Prabhava Vilas. 187. Balaram, who has the same original form as Krishna, is himself a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, and he also considers himself a member of the Kshatriya race in Dwarka. Thus his color and dress are different, and he is called a pastime form of Krishna. 188. Sri Balaram is a Vaibhava Prakash, manifestation of Krishna. He is also manifested in the original quadruple expansions of Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are Prabhav, Vilas expansions with different emotions. 189. The first expansion of the Chaturvyuha, quadruple forms, is unique. There is nothing to compare with them. These quadruple forms are the source of unlimited quadruple forms. 190. These four Prabhava pastime forms of Lord Krishna reside eternally in Dwarka and Mathura. 191. From the original quadruple expansions, 24 forms are manifested. They differ according to the placement of the weapons in their four hands. They are called Vaibhava Vilas. 192. Lord Krishna again expands, and within the Parabhyoma, the spiritual sky, he is situated in fullness as the four-handed Narayana, accompanied by expansions of the original quadruple form. Purport. At the top of the Paravyoma, the spiritual sky, there is Goloka Vrindavan, which is divided into three parts. Two of the parts, called Mathura and Dwarka, are the residences of Krishna in his Prabhava Vilas forms. Balaram, Krishna's Vaibhava Prakash, are eternally situated in Gokula. From the quadruple Prabhava Vilas, 24 forms of the Vaibhava Vilas are expanded. Each has 4 hands holding weapons in different positions. The topmost planet in the spiritual sky is Goloka Vrindavan, and below that planet is the spiritual sky itself. In that spiritual sky, Krishna himself is four-handed and is situated as Narayana. 193. Thus the original quadruple forms again manifest themselves in a second set of quadruple expansions. The residences of these second quadruple expansions cover the 4 directions. Text 194. Again, these quadruple forms expand 3 times, beginning with Keshava. That is the fulfillment of the pastime forms. 195. Out of the Chaturvyuha, there are 3 expansions of each and every form, and they are named differently according to the position of the weapons. The Vasudeva expansions are Keshava, Narayana, and Madhava. 196. The expansions of Shankarshan are Govinda, Vishnu, and Madhusudana. This Govinda is different from the original Govinda, for he is not the son of Maharaj Nanda. 197. The expansions of Pradyumna are Trivikrama, Vamana, and Sridhar. The expansions of Aniruddha are Rishikesha, Padmanabha, and Damodar. Just put on your tilak. 198. These 12 are the predominating deities of the 12 months. Keshava is the predominating deity of Agrahayana, and Narayana is the predominating deity of Pausha. 199. The predominating deity of the month of Magha is Madhava, and the predominating deity of the month of Palguna is Govinda. Vishnu is the predominating deity of Chaitra, and Madhusudana is the predominating deity of Vaishakha. 200. In the month of Jyeshta, the predominating deity is Trivikram. In Ashada, the deity is Vamana. In Shravana, the deity is Sridhar. And in Bhadra, the deity is Rishikesh. 201. In the month of Ashwina, the predominating deity is Padmanabha. And in Kartik, it is Damodar. This Damodar is different from Radha Damodar, the son of Maharaj Nanda in Vrindavan. Text 202. When putting the 12 tilak marks on the 12 parts of the body, one has to chant the mantra consisting of these 12 Vishnu names. Also, when one anoints the different parts of the body with water, these names should be chanted as one touches each part of the body. Purport. While marking the body with tilak, one should chant the following mantra, which consists of 12 names of Lord Vishnu. Lalate Keshavam Dhyayan Narayanam Adhodare, Bhakshastali Madhavam tu, Govindam Kantakupike, Vishnum Chidakshina Kukshau, Baho cha Madhusudana, Trivikramam Kandare tu, Vamanam Vamaparshvake, Sridharam Vamabahu tu, Bahau tu, Rishikesham tu Kandare, Prishte cha Padmanabham cha, Katyam Damodaram Yaset. When one marks the forehead with tilak, he must remember Keshava. When one marks the lower abdomen, he must remember Narayana. For the chest, one should remember Madhava, and when marking the hollow of the neck, one should remember Govinda. Lord Vishnu should be remembered while marking the right arm. Trivikram. Lord Vishnu should be remembered while marking the right side of the belly, and Madhusudana should be remembered when marking the right arm. Trivikram should be remembered when marking the right shoulder, and Vamana should be remembered when marking the left side of the belly. Sridhar should be remembered while marking the left arm, and Rishikesh should be remembered when marking the left shoulder. Padmanabha and Damodar should be remembered when marking the back. Text 203. From Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, there are 8 additional pastime expansions. O Sanatan, please hear me as I mention their names. Text 204. The 8 pastime expansions are Purushottam, Achyuta, Nrisingha, Janardana, Hari, Krishna, Adhoksaja, and Upendra. 205. Of these 8 expansions, 2 are pastime forms of Vasudeva. Their names are Adhoksaja and Purushottama. The 2 pastime forms of Sankarshan are Upendra and Achyuta. 206. The pastime forms of Pradyumna are Nrisingha and Janardana, and the pastime forms of Aniruddha are Hari and Krishna. Text 207. All these 24 forms constitute the chief Prabhava Vilas pastime forms of the Lord. They are named differently according to the position of the weapons in their hands. 208. Of all these, the forms that differ in dress and features are distinguished as Vaibhava Vilas. 209. Of them, Padmanabha, Trivikram, Nrisingha, Vamana, Hari, Krishna, and so on, all have different bodily features. Text 210. Vasudeva and the 3 others are direct Prabhava pastime forms of Lord Krishna. Of these quadruple forms, the pastime expansions are 20 in number. 211. All these forms preside over different Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual world. Beginning from the east, in consecutive order, there are 3 different forms in each of the 8 directions. Text 212. Although they all have their residences eternally in the spiritual sky, some of them are situated within the material universes. There is an eternal residence of Narayana in the spiritual sky. In the upper portion of the spiritual sky is a planet known as Krishna Loka, which is filled with all opulences. The planet of Krishna Loka is divided into 3 sections: Gokula, Mathura, and Dwaraka. 215. Lord Keshava eternally resides in Mathura, and Lord Purushottama, known by the name Jagannath, eternally resides at Nilachala. 2:16. At Prayag, the Lord is situated as Bindu Madhava, and at Mandara Parvata, the Lord is known as Madhusudana. Vasudev, Padmanabha, and Janardhan reside at Anandaranya. 2:17. At Vishnu Kanchi, there is Lord Vishnu. At Mayapur, Lord Hari, and throughout the universe, a variety of other forms. Purport. All of these forms are Murti forms. They are worshipped in the temples. Their names are Keshava at Mathura, Purushottama at Jagannath, at Nilachali, or Jagannath at Nilachala, Sri Bindumadava at Prayag, Madhusudana at Mandara, and Vasudeva, Padmanabha, and Janardhan at Anandaranya. Which is situated in Kerala, South India. At Vishnu Kanchi is Lord Bharadwaj, and Hari is situated at Mayapur, Lord Chaitanya's birth site. Thus, in different places throughout the universe, there are various deities in temples bestowing their causeless mercy upon the devotees. All these deity forms are non-different from the murtis in the spiritual world of the Vaikunthas. Although the Archamurti, the worshipable deity form of the Lord, appears to be made of material elements, it is as good as the spiritual forms found in the spiritual Vaikuntha lokas. The deity in the temple, however, is visible to the material eyes of the devotee. It is not possible for one in material conditioned life to see the spiritual form of the Lord. To bestow causeless mercy upon us, the Lord appears as the Archamurti so that we can see him. It is forbidden to consider the Archamurti to be made of stone or wood. In the Padma Purana it is said, Arche Vishnau Shila Dir Gurusho Nadamatir Vaishnave Jati Budhir Vishnor Va Vaishnavanam Kalimalamatane Padatir Tem Bubudihi Shri Vishnor Namni Mantra Sakala Kalusha He Shabdasa Manya Budhir Vishnau Sarveshwaresh Shitad Itarasama Dir Yasyava Nadaki Saha. No one should consider the deity in the temple to be made of stone or wood, nor should one consider the spiritual master an ordinary human being. No one should consider a Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste or creed, and no one should consider Charanamrita or Ganges water to be like ordinary water. Nor should anyone consider the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to be a material vibration. Nor should anyone consider, all these expansions of Krishna in the material world are simply demonstrations of the Lord's mercy and willingness to give facility to his devotees who are engaged in his devotional service within the material world. Text 218. Within the universe, the Lord is situated in different spiritual manifestations. These are situated on 7 islands in 9 sections. Thus their pastimes are going on. Purport. The 7 islands are mentioned in the Siddhanta Shiromani. The 7 islands, Dvipas, are known as 1. Jambu, 2. Shaka, 3. Shalmali, 4. Kusha, 5. Krauncha, 6. Gomeda or Plaksha, and 7. Pushkara. The planets are called Dvipas. Outer space is like an ocean of air. Just as there are planets or islands in the watery ocean, these planets in the ocean of space are called dvipas, or islands in outer space. There are 9 khandas, known as 1. Bharata, 2. Kinnara, 3. Hari, 4. Kuru, 5. Hiranmaya, 6. Ramyaka, 7. Ilavrita, 8. Bhadrashva, and 9. Ketumala. These are different parts of Jambudvip. A valley between 2 mountains is called a khanda, or varsha. Text 219. The Lord is situated in all the universes in different forms, just to please His devotees. Thus the Lord destroys irreligious principles and establishes religious principles. Purport. In the material world, the Lord is situated in different archa murtis, deities, in the temples, just to decrease the material activities of the conditioned soul and increase his spiritual activities. Particularly in India, there are many temples throughout the country. Devotees may take advantage of them and go see the Lord at Jagannath Puri, Vrindavan, Prayag, Mathura, Hardwar, and Vishnu Kanchi. When the devotees travel to these places and see the Lord, they become very happy in devotional service. Text 220. Of these forms, some are considered incarnations. Examples are Lord Vishnu, Lord Trivikram, Lord Nrsimha, and Lord Vamana. 221. My dear Sanatan, just hear from me as I tell you how the different Vishnu Murtis hold their weapons, beginning with the disc, and how they are named differently according to the placement of the weapons in their hands. So we're going to stop here, and now we'll just, from here we'll go into the different Vishnu Murtis and the different placements of the weapons in the hands of, and how they're named accordingly. Hare Krishna. So the general point being made by Lord Chaitanya here is that Krishna is unlimited. His personality is unlimited. At the same time, he's in the same form as Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. He has all these other forms, and they're all appearing in different places in Vaikuntha and in the material world in their archer forms, just for the pleasure of their devotees. And their forms are featured accordingly. Okay, we'll stop here. Reflections, comments, discussion. Hare Krishna.
First comment tonight is from Shantarupa Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Shantarupa Devi Dasi.
She says, Jai Prabhupada, all glories to you and the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
From Brian Phillips.
Bhakta Brian, Hare Krishna.
He says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, nice to be with you again for more nectar. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Haribol.
Gopakanya Devi Dasi says, Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, and all devotees there.
Yes, it's very nice to glorify the devotees, especially those who are hearing every day the scriptures together.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Rati Manjari says, Jai Guru Maharaj and Jai to all the devotees. Back into the safe place.
Hare Krishna, Rati. I could just picture you rushing from all the activities that you do into your little flat and then tuning in and saying what you just said, back to the safe zone. It's very charming and true.
From Saloni Sachi Sundari.
Saloni Shati Sundari, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol.
All glories to the nectar of Caitanya-caritämrta.
Yes, all glories to the nectar of Caitanya-caritämrta. Hare Krishna.
A comment from Sudevi Dasi.
Mm-hmm.
She says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. These are the best of times for me, this purification, no matter what's going on in the world or even in my own difficulties. I look forward to hearing you read and discuss this amazing Caitanya-caritämrta, which says it all, which is all we ever need to know and to do.
Yes. It's a fact, and therefore it's called by Prabhupada the perfect Shastra.
Here's a question from Dobai Attila.
Attila. Hare Krishna, Attila.
He says, Hare Krishna Maharaj. He's asking why did this world get COVID-19? Do you think this is a special possibility for spiritual change? I mean, going deeper? Thank you so much for today's nectar.
Hare Krishna. Well, the COVID is obviously a karmic retribution for, it's called group karma. There's different sections of astrology. Some of them are about an individual person. Some of them are about groups of people. Some of them are about the whole planet. And they have different names. I don't remember offhand the Sanskrit names for them. But this is karmic retribution for the combined effect of all these sinful activities that have gone on, the human beings have done as they go deeper into Kali Yuga. It's not being done by Krishna directly, but it's being sanctioned by Krishna because he's in charge of Maya. Maya Jakshena Prakriti Suyate Sachadachadam. So he's in charge of Maya, and Maya is in charge of us. So indirectly he's doing it, but he's not doing it directly. So the reason why he's allowing this to happen is because as the Kali Yuga progresses and the people in general are less and less capable of hearing or feeling like acting properly according to religious principles, gradually there's at the very beginning, there's philosophy, and then there's bribery, and then there's the different degrees of convincing others, and finally there's the stick. And because they're becoming so dull in Kali Yuga, and this is only the beginning of Kali Yuga. Of course, our movement will be there in order to catch the persons who are waking up during these intense moments or intense periods of time where pandemics are happening, or wars, world wars, or other levels of wars, and that atmosphere is spreading in Kali Yuga, and pretty soon it will be, just already it is. The quarrel is going everywhere. Now they're having a pandemic, and they're fighting over whether or not to wear a mask, even though it's not a bad thing to wear a mask. Some people are thinking it's just they don't like it, so they don't want to do it. So this is Kali Yuga. It's chaos, it's confusion. There weren't these types of, horrific in the other ages. There weren't these kinds of natural horrific, pandemics or plagues, things like this, because before the Kali Yuga, they were more or less following religious principles. Even Prabhupada talks about India 50 years before, when he was with us, 50 years before, people wouldn't think of committing sinful activities the way they do now, as easily as they do now. So it's like that. It's degrading, and as it degrades, there'll be more different kinds of anomalies. Now the parts of America are burning down, or there's huge typhoons and cyclones and hurricanes all over the world. This is Kali Yuga. They're karmic retributions. Everyone, individually and collectively, are getting what they deserve from their past activities, not a penny more or a penny less. And the same thing goes for the groups, whether they be families or dynasties or corporate entities or communities or countries or continents. And here we are, hearing Caitanya-caritämrta, completely free from all those things. I was meditating the other day how when we're actually hearing with rapt attention, with eagerness, and with faith and love, then that is non-different than samadhi. It's non-different than meditation. It's the most practical method of meditation. The holy name and the holy scriptures that Prabhupada translated are especially the essence of the Vedas. And Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Caitanya-caritämrta especially, and the literatures of the Goswamis are given to us in this Kali Yuga to take us closer and closer to Krishna. Get to know Krishna. And when you get to know Krishna, you will fall in love. Because he is so beautiful and so famous and so powerful and so rich and so wise and so detached. Supreme attractive Krishna. All attractive Krishna. So all these different forms that are being described here by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami are all the different varieties of Krishna's forms, just to give his personal association to all the varieties of living beings, especially human beings in the universe and all the planetary systems. So, Hare Krishna. Karmic retribution, the COVID. Nature giving people what they actually deserve from their nonsense activities, their materialistic activities, sinful activities. Hare Krishna.
Next is from Vrindavaneshwari Devi Dasi.
Oh, Vrindavaneshwari, Hare Krishna.
She says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, with much gratitude, thank you so much for this much needed, sweet, daily spiritual elixir. This reading has inspired me to wear tilak more often, and not only when going to the temple, which isn't often nowadays due to the pandemic.
Yes. This is very good. You should wear tilak all the time. And you'll be surprised at how people will accept it and inquire and respect you for being bold enough to do such a thing.
Rati Manjari says, yes, it's like that.
Ratish, you're so agreeable lately. I mean, I can't believe it. Hare Krishna.
There's a question from Nick Erickson.
Nick Erickson. This is Ukti Tantra. Initiated disciple of mine named Ukti Tantra.
He says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, I was wondering if Damodar is not the same Damodar as the month we are in, then why do we worship Nanda Maharaj's Damodar in this month?
If Damodar is not the same, because it's different. Damodar is the name of the month. The Damodar is the name of the Vishnu expansion of Krishna that designates the month. And Krishna, Radha Damodar, or Yashoda Damodar, is a different form. That's the original form. You'll notice that the name of Krishna appears in these different expansions also. That's also not the same form as the original Krishna. This is what it means to learn the science of Krishna consciousness. We should all get out our pencils and we should write the types of, expansions and what they mean and what forms are corresponding to what expansion and the kind of expansion and why. And in that way we learn more about Krishna. And at first you'll be amazed, and eventually you'll fall in love with him because, who else can you love after you read these things?
As of now, the last comment and question from Braj Vallabha.
Hare Krishna Braj Vallabha.
He says, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Can you describe how Krishna reciprocates with devotees? Do we experience it as a feeling or action, or does a devotee just know? Are there some signs we can look for?
All of the above. And it depends, each one is different. Each one is different, but the pattern is that one falls in love with Krishna. Or at first of all, one becomes attached to Krishna. He becomes attached to the service first of all. Then he becomes attached to the form. Then he becomes attached to the name, and then the form, and then the activities, and then the entourage, and eventually the spiritual world. So symptoms means when we hear, we like it. And as we advance, we like it more and more and more. And finally, when we become really attached, a rati or a shakti, then when the sound comes, your mind goes there fully and immediately without any distraction. The ability to fix one's mind. Well, that's a little different, fixing one's mind. It means spontaneous attachment. So as we advance, our attachment for Krishna will become more intense and gradually it will become spontaneous. Just like you hear the stories of Mukunda, Krishna's friend, who was a doctor, a physician, and he was a royal physician. He was physician of governor or zamindar or some big person, landholder, and I don't remember exactly who. And he was once tending to his patient, and a person came out and brought a peacock fan, and to fan the Nawab or whoever it was he was fanning. And as soon as Mukunda saw that, he fainted and fell off he was sitting in a high place with him, and he fell off onto the ground. Of course, he used it as his excuse that he had some kind of epileptic episode or something like that. But that's high. That's the highest, where just you see something that reminds you of Krishna, and it puts you into ecstatic trance. But the very beginning is you like to chant and hear, and it goes in deeper, gradually, and you don't want to stop. And eventually that name will reverberate, echo in your mind, and the things that you've heard about the Lord, they will stay in your mind, and eventually they will be there 24 hours a day. And all these things are experienced by devotees, each one differently. It's inconceivable. Inconceivable. It's not at all a mechanical, pragmatic process. It's a spiritual science, but it's spiritual. It's not material. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Ukti Tantra says, "Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna."
Hare Krishna.
And there's a comment from Rati Manjari.
I've been waiting for the comment from Rati Manjari.
She says, "Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I was agreeing to the image you spoke about me going in and out of my apartment and doing all of my activities like a restless bird, and in the evening settling into here with you in this sacred assembly. I am still the same restless fool, but yet I am being blessed day after day. It is so unspeakably delightful."
Yes, Rati, and we can know from what you do is that at least a part of what you're saying is your humility, because a lot of those things that you're doing are actually helping other people in different ways, especially when you go out and do kirtan and help the devotees to organize themselves to preach. Yes. And recording things to glorify Krishna and to spread Krishna consciousness. This is not, what does she call it? She used a phrase to describe what she was doing, just restless something.
Like a restless bird.
Like a restless bird. Restless birds, you're not a restless bird. Because when a restless bird flits from one place to another, he's always looking around, waiting for somebody to kill him or eat him. But yours is different. You're busy in devotional service and busy in helping others. It's very exemplary. Hare Krishna. And very nice. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Sri Chaitanya Mahäprabhu ki jai. The teachings of Sanätana Gosvämi ki jai. Sanätana Gosvämi himself ki jai. See you tomorrow here in the Haven. Same place, same station, same subject. Krishna Katha. See you tomorrow.
Would you like to hear this last comment from Rati Manjari?
Sure, why not?
She says, "Tomorrow we are going out to another city, Guru Maharaj, to do kirtan and even book distribution. Please pray for us."
We will pray and we will enjoy just thinking about it. What to speak of seeing it. Hare Krishna. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow night. Hare Krishna.